It's a fun game, but there are a couple of issues that make it not as replayable as it seems. 511 hours on record. You know, he's right. Don't you just hate it, absolutely hate it, when you only get 500 plus hours out of a game? My goodness, that is an absolute scam. I don't know who this is, but they most certainly do not know what they're talking about. The wax quail is love, and the wax quail is life. It's a wax quail! Again, I don't know who this is, but they should probably be banned. Despite the comments about fake difficulty and the lack of needing skill, today we're going to review some negative reviews of Risk of Rain. I apologize in advance for how many "that's a skill issue" moments you're going to see, but hey, listen, that's what the chef served up, and I'm just here to eat. Gearbox, 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 and Gearbox. Let's get this out of the way first. Leaving a negative review solely because a company was bought out is absolute lunacy. Let's look at what Hoppo has done since being sold to Gearbox. They released the Void DLC to consoles. They've released Risk of Rain Remastered, that Risk of Rain Returns thing. They released a free map and skins as hype for their upcoming Seekers of the Storm DLC. I mean, you know, maybe the reviewers have a point. Look how they've absolutely ruined Risk of Rain. It's filled with loot boxes and season passes now. Oh man, all this free content, it's terrible. I really didn't find this game to be fun. Graphics and gameplay were equally dull. Had pass, in my opinion. It seems like a free game in terms of how well developed it is. I quit playing after 20 minutes and never opened it again. Well, Mr. Too Many Cars, you go ahead and give it that had pass and go play Overwatch 2. He's really an against the grain kind of guy. Gives the overwhelmingly positive game a had pass and gives Overwatch 2 a positive review. It's quite a time to be alive that people are still so sensitive to the visuals of a game. Without going too deep, I want to recognize that there's very explicit and important difference between graphic fidelity and art direction. Risk of Rain 2 is by no means a pretty game, but it's also not an ugly game. And there's also lots of moments where the game actually looks kind of nice. Some of the most popular in-depth games are very simple looking. I mean, look at Valheim, Barony, For the King, Content Warning, Minecraft, the list goes on. Some games are straight up ugly. I mean, go look at Lethal Company, let's be honest. That game's ugly. I think I've said enough at this point. Don't be this guy. Give it more than 20 minutes. I have 600 hours in this game. What I've realized is that I really can't develop a complete opinion of a character or item until I've played that character or used that item for like 10 to 20 hours. My opinions of what items are good is still developing as I find myself getting items I thought were bad, but paired with different synergies, they're actually pretty good. Resonance Disc and Berserker's Baldron are examples. About 400 hours in is when I realized I started to like these items. You know, when you go into one of those runs, right? And you don't know why things are dying, and then you actually look at what items you have and you realize it's because these items that you once thought were terrible, they're actually kind of good, you know. Alright, Webmelio, what do you have for us today? This game is hella rigged. You will have games where some items are simply absent entirely, and for some reason it tends to be the ones your character needs to prosper. It's rigged, I tell you. This, my friends, is a classic case of skill issue. Dude, item drops are random. Thinking otherwise is absolute cope. This is where the skill of the game comes in. You have to figure out how to win with the items that you're given. You're not always given the best items, but you need to win anyways. The game even gives you some control over this by having the soups in the bazaar where you can trade items for red items. There are printers and scrappers on the map. I've had terrible RNG item drops where I was still able to win because I utilized the things that I control very well. I still don't recommend this game solo, is a wild opinion. This game is honestly not suited well for co-op. The main problem is when you play unmodded, as soon as one person dies, it's nearly impossible for them to recover the next stage. Enemies scale so quickly, and being out for just a few minutes is a disaster. So most of the time, one person is just left spectating the other player because they're gonna die on the next stage again. Now this one is interesting. Negative review and a comment about the community. Risk of Rain is one of the best communities out there. I don't know what this guy is on about. Some of the biggest creators, you know. Cap, Wooly, Disputed Origin, Ray Dance, Nurbly. All really awesome dudes, especially that last guy, Nurbly. He's pretty great, you know. But anyways, here's another classic case of skill issue. You'll get one shot from behind because whoopies, I think he meant whoopsies. You should have taken your eyes off the dangerous group of enemies to look behind. As much as you see people complain about getting one shot, bad RNG, feeling helpless, again, Risk of Rain deaths can almost always be attributed to something that you did. Honestly, most of the deaths can be avoided. Is he going to be immune there? Gonna be busted. Wait, what are you what? And now the game assumes you're playing with command on at all times. Dude, for the love of God, please do not get me started on the command plague. What if we took one of the most unique things about this game, unintended, interesting item synergies, and just turned that off? Dude, you're not supposed to have a god run every time. I've said this many times before. It's all about the magic. If I get to have Plasma Shrimp, Safer Spaces, and Brilliant Behemoth every time, it diminishes the excitement of those items. My friend killed me with the meteorites. Listen, I know I talked about this in a recent video, but it's one of those things that's sort of like a rite of passage for this game. There's no friendly fire in this game without artifacts, and sometimes you wake up and you choose chaos, and glowing meteorite is going to be your ticket. Blind Pest. This is the kind of clear and concise review that I love. I don't need a 5,000 word essay as to why you don't like the game. Blind Pest, every Risk of Rain player understands this. It honestly makes sense. Blind Pests are usually on the first 2 stages, and that's where your chance to die is the highest, especially if you're a melee character. I mean, honestly, be honest. How many deaths do you have that were less than 5 minutes into the game? Go ahead, I'll wait. I know it's a lot to count. Nah. Thanks for the review, The Mystic Sword. Nah. I don't know which developer developed Elder Lemurians, but I hope he burns in hell. This low-key a flex. Imagine surviving long enough to even encounter Elder Lemurians. I'm with that guy above who's dying to the blind pests every time. We've got to end this video on a positive note. Thank you, Virgil. You offered to the shrine but gained nothing. 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 You picked up bison steak. You picked up bison steak. Honestly, this is pretty average chance shrine luck. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't take it too seriously. Listen, Risk of Rain is a great game. Let me know what you think of Risk of Rain 2 down below. Let me know if you want to see a part 2 of this video. I'll see you in the next one.